barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button on my way to the gym. And y'all been DMing me a lot about Errol Spence lately. And one question asked me, somebody asked me, what should Errol Spence do next? If I'm Errol Spence, I do what the hell I want to do. But if I'm Errol Spence, I go get that Mikey Garcia money. I'm just being real. If that's a pay-per-view fight, you may have to wait a couple of months after Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury to get the money back into the public. But you guys know how I feel about fighters and their money and how long it takes for them to get to the place that they are at to absolutely make those millions and millions and millions of dollars. You know, I think he beats Mikey Garcia convincingly. And I think immediately after the Mikey Garcia fight, I think he should unify at 147. That's the plan I would take. And while simultaneously building up Terrence Crawford. Keep Terrence Crawford's name in your mouth. It makes sense. You know, keep his name in your mouth. Talk about him. Whoever's throwing up the fight. I just heard Terrence Crawford say that it's the business of boxing that's holding it up, or something like that. I don't want to misquote the man, but I heard it when he was at the Nevada Hall of Fame. He said something about the business of boxing. So as long as Terrence Crawford is saying the business of boxing, that means he's comfortable with waiting and building up the fight. Terrence Crawford's not afraid of Errol Spence, and we all know Errol Spence is afraid of no man. I can see in Errol Spence's disposition. Errol Spence is the most not the most, but he is the most calmest, confident fighter that you want to interview. Like, you know, he's like, whatever, man, whatever. Line him up. You know what I mean? So that's what I would want to see next. Go get that Mikey Garcia money. You may have to, like, that fight probably can't be made until until February, right? After the Super Bowl. Would you do that before the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl? But after that, you got March Madness. Whew, that's tough. You can't compete with March Madness and the Super Bowl. It's just, no one will. Go ahead and try if you want to. Those Saturday nights are pretty much occupied. I know Super Bowl's on Sunday, but you just don't do it from a business acumen. Yeah, I don't know when you make that fight. Maybe the second week of April, because the Final Four is the first week of April. So maybe you got to wait till April for that fight. But I say those belts at 147 ain't going anywhere. So I would try and fight Mikey Garcia while he's still in that space. Because realistically, I don't know who Mikey Garcia is going to fight next. But let's say Manny Pacquiao, or let's say Lomachenko. Those are fights where he has a realistic chance of losing. And if he loses this fight, Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence is gone. The lure of that is gone. Would I have Mikey Garcia? Mikey Garcia, Lomachenko, you got me watching, for real, you got me watching fights over and over and over again. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know right now. Oh, that's a tough fight to call. Manny Pacquiao, Mikey Garcia. I think Mikey Garcia is intelligent enough. Not enough. He's more than intelligent. Enough, it just sounds easier coming off the tongue. Intelligent enough to handle the timing of Manny Pacquiao. You know, he'll be able to slip his punches. He automatically goes left anyway. Remember how he knocked out that kid last January in Vegas? He pivoted off his left shoulder and bow, hit him with a right hand. So he could stay away from Manny Pacquiao. And but as I get back to Errol Spence, I'll go get that money, and then I unify later on in the year. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I would do if I'm Errol Spence. And then if you unify, let's say he fights Mikey Garcia in the first half of next year, right? Then he unify with the winner of Danny Garcia late next year. Everything is still in order, and Errol Spence makes maximum profit. and I want these fighters making maximum profit. You understand what I'm saying? I'm the guy that works the fight and buys the pay-per-view. You understand where I'm coming from? If I like the fighter. You understand what I'm saying? So I would buy an Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia pay-per-view and have it on my DVR for the rest of my life. So, you know, I'm the guy that's going to work the Deontay Wilder fight and buy the pay-per-view. So, that's just my mindset. So, but I'm genuinely looking forward to I don't know what Errol Spence going to do. I mean, he literally has... He can do whatever he wants, and it's the right move. Do I think Mikey Garcia is an easy fight for him? Yes, I think Mikey Garcia is an easy fight for him. But he can't get that money nowhere else if it goes to pay-per-view. If they sell $400,000 at $70, I don't know how much that is off the top of my head, but let's say they do $400,000 at $70 a piece. You know what I mean? I don't know what pieces of it, the piece he gets of it, but he deserves it. You know, we always got to remember, these fighters were amateurs before they were pros. And before they were amateurs, they were little kids sparring. You understand? I know they probably was in these little tournaments when they were 6 and 7, 8 years old. That shit don't... I mean, it counts. Don't get me wrong, because you're still building the practice. You're building the disciplines of boxing. You're building that up. But when these guys go to these international tournaments, man, they're basically fighting professional fighters, man. You know, these Eastern European fighters are pretty much pros. They got 400 amateur fights. These Cubans got 400 amateur fights, 300 and 400 amateur fights, man. So, and that's just on the record. You know, imagine how many fights they really have. You know what I mean? And all the sparring sessions and all that. So that's what I would do if I'm Errol Spence. But if you want to unify first. It depends on how he feels. You know. Unify. If you feel the urge to unify with the winner of Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, I would unify. You know, it's his option. You know, I would gather that Showtime would want Sean Porter to fight Errol Spence next, or Danny Garcia next. I'm telling you who I'm rooting for, obviously. But you know, at the end of the day, that's what it is, man. But Errol Spence, you got options. And I can't wait to interview you next week. You got options. You genuinely have options. And all of them are money-making, strong options. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, man, let me know what you guys think. If you're Errol Spence, what would you do? Realistic, would you unify first? Or would you fight Mikey Garcia? Mikey Garcia has a chance to... Now, also keep in mind, now we're just basing it off percentages. We're not basing it off how you feel emotionally. Like, pragmatically, do you think Mikey Garcia beats... Because you got to get Manny Pacquiao this year. This year and next year. If you miss him, you miss him. That Manny Pacquiao money is gone forever after this year. Someone's going to knock him off. All right? So do you get Manny Pacquiao first, if you're Mikey Garcia, to Errol Spence? Or do you go Errol Spence with nothing to lose, everything to gain, and then come back and get Manny Pacquiao? Because you got to get Manny Pacquiao this year if you're Mikey Garcia, I believe. So what do you do? And if you're Errol Spence, what do you do? As I told you, that Terrence Crawford fight won't be made to at least 2020. I told you guys. No matter what nobody tell you, I'm just speaking the real with you guys. There's no way that fight happens next year. I told you guys that fight is off until 2020. I told you guys this early this year. So feel free, hit the subscribe button, and talk to you guys soon. Peace. I'll talk about that in another video. I'll holla. Peace.